If you have a dating profile that says you love taking long, slow walks, and on those walks you love trying to open doors and opening doors, then you're going to match perfectly with Still Wakes the Deep. Just last month, the Chinese Room released said game, Still Wakes the Deep, and I decided, let me take the plunge into the walking horror simulator. And let me preface this with absolutely no spoilers, not even any of the footage from my own playthrough, because few genres benefit most from a fresh, never-before-seen play than horror, kind of like a whodunit. If you know whodunit, then you don't need to see it. And my second disclaimer, horror has never been a genre that I've cared for, either movies, books, or TV. I just never feel that tension and never respond to those supposed scares. If you are a horror fan, no doubt you will get much more from this game than I did. So, first off, the atmosphere. The game feels like Gone Home meets late John Pertwee, early Tom Baker, Doctor Who years. Now, what I mean by that is Gone Home has this weird, empty feeling. It's deliberate because of the nature of what you're finding out in the story, but it also has that surreal, unnatural vibe of no one around in an almost realistic world. Well, we get the same thing out of Still Wakes the Deep. For an oil rig that should have anywhere from 100 to 200 workers, it is bizarrely empty. Even when you go into the mess hall, there's a few little groups of people, a couple you can talk to, but it feels lifeless. And I get those vintage Doctor Who vibes from the overall feel of where I'm walking around. Just the knowledge of that sci-fi element, that distinct British Isles feel. Any moment, I expected the TARDIS to materialize, and frankly, it's too bad it didn't, because it would be really neat to see either of those doctors deal with this situation. Now, as I said, this really isn't my cup of tea, but it's not a bad game. First off, the voice acting is absolutely stellar. The voice actors have an incredibly tight script and deliver outstanding performances, better than most games. And I think that's where the passion the Chinese Room has for this game really shines. They are a company that tells stories not through action and combat, but through the atmosphere, environment, and dialogue. However, you might want to keep those subtitles on, because they did not hold back on the idioms and the accents, and more power to them for doing that. It is unfortunate that that is the only real highlight for me, because this is a walking simulator with horror and with QuickTime events. The walking, obviously, is pretty easy. Move from one place to the other. You can run if you need to. You can crouch. And at specific times, you can clamber over an object or climb up and down stairs and ladders. And then there are those QTEs. I wouldn't say they are particularly hard, and most of them get telegraphed well in advance. Still, sometimes the prompt against the background is a little tough and might catch you off guard. But never fear. The game will save before any of those events happen. So when you inevitably, or at least when I inevitably screw them up, it loads me right back only moments before I had to do that QTE. And that brings me to saves, or the distinct lack of. This is a purely checkpoint-driven save system, and you can't go back and pick a checkpoint to start from. Pretty obvious why you'd want to do it in a horror game. Still, I love my saving. And not for save scumming, though sometimes I do that, but life is busy, and sometimes you gotta get up and go do something else, and you don't want to lose all of your progress, and you don't know when the next checkpoint is actually going to occur. But this game seems to be pretty liberal with its save points, and even if you lose a little bit of progress, it's just a little more walking to do to get back to where you were the last time you played. Besides walking, there will be things like using a heater to keep from freezing to death, grabbing objects and throwing them purely as distractions. You have no weapons. You are only interacting in the world at certain specific points where a certain action is required. Nor do you have an inventory. If you're carrying that fire extinguisher around, might as well drop it before you try to do the next action, because you do one thing at a time. And besides walking, the thing you will most be doing in this game is opening doors, or trying to open doors. Good golly, Miss Molly. I kid you not when I say there are portions of this game where you walk out one door, straight to another, turn a corner, and go through another door. You go up a ladder, open a hatch, and walk to another door. And if you're not opening that door, you're getting the animation and the constant cues that I can't get through that door's blocked, no way. And as a quick little side note, the large hatches in the bulkheads signal a transition to a new area. Now, you move forward. The game lets you know where you need to go because of all those doors you can't get through or can't go back through. And I think this serves this style of game very well. You are constantly pushed to move to the next area to experience the next horror, the next scare, the next bit of tension without being able to wander around endlessly or go back to areas and wander there for a while. And this is not a game of alternate routes or clever little shortcuts. No, you're going to experience what they want you to experience, whether you want to or not. As far as the technical details, the graphics, the mechanics, and the UI, well, there is no UI. You don't have a mini-map, and that can, other than you're being guided, can make you feel a little out of sorts, because we all want to see that mini-map or hit that M key to bring up our map. Nope. You can find maps on the walls that you can look at, and that will give you some idea of where you're going to go, but that minimal UI does make it far more immersive, and horror relies on that immersion. Now, graphically, it's very beautiful. Thing is, we've all seen pipes and wires and broken beams and barrels, grates in the walls, windows, and doors. So as representative of a oil rig this might be, it's still pipes and drums and electrical, things we've all seen in games a billion times, things we've seen in real life. And like I said earlier, it straddles a weird line of being realistic but not quite realistic, kind of like Gone Home. And yes, I keep mentioning Gone Home because that's really the only walking simulator game that I've ever played. But it does look good because it is using Unreal 5 with very high quality assets, even if you see some of those assets time after time. For example, the young girl posing on all of those posters everywhere. The same one. They could have made a few different ones just to mix it up a bit. The sound work, absolutely brilliant. All in all, you can tell that the Chinese Room really loved this project. Does everything work for me? No. But if you want to see someone really enjoy their work and put everything they have into it, this game shows that off. And there is a clear difference between Still Wakes the Deep and their upcoming Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. If you've seen any of the videos on that game, it seems to me there is a noticeable difference in passion. If this sounds like something you'd want to play and have Game Pass, well, download it, because it's included. No Game Pass? Well, Steam has it for $34.99. And heck, that's a steal compared to the quality we get a lot of times with those $70 games. So has anybody out there played this game? Interested in it? Give us a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.